Knowing is good, but knowing everything is better. What's going on, guys? So the spoilers, there's going to be spoilers all over this thing, okay? It's going to be spoilers, all right? You got it? Good. Now I'm about to go in and dissect this film, okay? Because, and I'm reviewing it like this because, as you probably guessed, really didn't like this movie. So it's unfortunate, but I really wasn't digging this movie at all. So here's how this movie should have went. Okay, ideally, this is how it should have went. It should have been like a brainchild of like Martin Scorsese's Shutter Island, Will Smith and Gene Hackman's Enemy of the State, with a little bit of David Fincher's The Social Network kind of peppered in, okay? That should have been what this movie should have felt like. This movie should have felt, or should have made you feel, I should say. This movie should have made you feel like paranoid, and it should have been genuinely creepy. It made you uncomfortable, and it should have been filled to the brim with all these incredibly thought-provoking ideas. And honestly, it should have just felt like, like a Charlie Brooker Black Mirror episode, like the British series on Netflix, Black Mirror. That's what this film should have felt like. Like, I thought that we should have got like a nice kind of friendship, quasi romance with Emma Watson and John Boyega, and I think it would have been interesting if like Emma Watson kind of witnessed John Boyega kind of get snatched away or killed or something like that, so she knows how serious the circle is. This should have been like one of the best roles that Tom Hanks should have ever received as a villain. You know what I'm saying? When was it? Has he ever played a villain outside this film? Like this is a perfect role for Tom Hanks to be just genuinely ominous and intimidating, and just blowing people away with his villainous performance. You know what I'm saying? He should have been like the Steve Jobs Negan or something like that. That's what the movie should have been like. Okay. Instead, personally, I found this movie to be not exciting and just messy as far as the plot execution goes. Boring characters. And to be honest, I feel like this movie has a lot of unfulfilled potential. But it's just so sloppily put together. For example, like this scene right here. Okay, now and we'll take a good look at it. All right, remember the scene with Emma Watson and these two people come to speak to her for a moment. Okay, now in this scene, they were trying to like make you feel uncomfortable and were trying to make you like kind of feel creeped out, but instead, these two characters that confront Emma Watson, they're like, oh, why weren't you around for this date, or why did you leave at this time the other day, we're all big fans of you, we're all friends, we're all connected, everything's just so happy here, what's interesting, you haven't, why didn't you tell us about your father's MS problem, we could have helped solve that for you, and they're basically asking a lot of intrusive questions, and like they're being awkward. Like the characters that are talking to her should have been creepy, they should have been like these characters are even making me uncomfortable with their questions, in the way that they're talking to her. Instead, they come off as just awkward and almost laughable, especially the chick that's talking to Emma Watson. She sounded like not even like a human. She was just like, well, make sure to check your emails because everybody's connected here. I was just like, oh my God. Like, I know what you're trying to go for, movie. You're trying to make these characters seem like they're crazy and they're creepy, but it's not working. Instead, they sound like, it almost feels like honestly, like a scene that could have been in a Seth Rogen like stoner comedy film. That's what it feels like instead. What's another thing that sort of irked me about this movie? Oh yeah, like with John Boyega, I felt like his character was full of unfulfilled potential. Like they just went nowhere with his character. I thought there was going to be like a romance building because when they first meet, which was really random, but and like Emma Watson was just happening by, and then the two of them were kind of flirting a little bit here. I don't know how well you can see that, but the two of them were kind of flirting a little bit here. He had that, I think it was like a bottle of wine or something like that. And they were like flirting back and forth with each other, being cute and shit. And, I thought there might have been an interesting romance there. No. And then there's a moment where the two of them, he shows her around in this restricted area. And I was like, ooh, maybe something, we're going to get some mind-bending information. Nothing mind-bending. Like, he's just like, the circle is not who they're supposed to be. This wasn't, and then we find out, we do find out that he's actually like some really important person who's kind of undercover, but not really that interesting. It's not like we got some cool flashbacks or something like that. But I don't know, when he was explaining to her inside of this restricted space, like, this is who I actually am. This is what the circle actually represents. It just it's not like I was like, oh my god. Like, it just, the scene was just so dull to me, And then, here's the thing that drives me crazy, all right? First off, Emma Watson, her character is just not that interesting. I personally found, like, John Boyega or Tom Hanks, hell, even her dad, who has MS, does he have MS? Yeah, the dad with MS. I thought he was more interesting than Emma Watson's character. No bullshit. She was just some ordinary person working at some crappy job who gets hired at, like, Google on steroids, basically. Not the most interesting character, sadly. But, anyways, when she's, like, for some dumbass reason, she goes out canoeing one night, she goes out canoeing, or she's on a kayak, whatever the fuck, okay? She goes rowing by herself at night, pitch black, right? And then out of nowhere, I think it gets really foggy, and the water gets really choppy, and then, like, she almost gets hit by a fucking random ship, right? Almost dies. It's like, am I supposed to feel sympathetic for this woman in this moment? Because, like, what was her ass doing out here on this little rowboat in the middle of the night? Okay, she doesn't even have a flashlight. Okay, what the hell is she doing, right? And then the circle saves her because she drank some shit, which that scene was kind of interesting, where she was in that doctor's office and she drank that green juice, and they could show her all the data about her insides, That was kind of interesting for, like, 30 seconds. But anyways, so she gets rescued by the circle people, right? And then from there, for, like, multiple scenes onward, all of a sudden she's just completely trusting with the film. It's like, hold on, am I fucking missing something here? Remember the scene that I was just describing about those two people trying to be all creepy and asking her weird questions? In that moment, she actually seemed, like, uncomfortable, and she's like, I don't know about the circle shit. And what about the stuff that John Boyega was talking about? Shouldn't that have planted some kind of seed that was like, yeah, and there's that too. I don't know about this circle stuff. It seems kind of invasive. Instead, all of a sudden, when she gets saved one time on this goddamn rowboat, all of a sudden, she's like, oh, you know what? I want to go First off, she's on stage with Tom Hanks' character for an interview. And during that whole interview, I was like, is she kind of putting up a front? And she wasn't. Which I didn't buy. And then after that, she's like, I want to go transparent. And she spends, like, days or weeks or whatever the hell it is, being recorded like at all hours of the day except for when she's in the bathroom. Like being saved out at sea, like just gave you all that trust to the circle. She's at this meeting with the circle, and she's like, you know what? I think this is what we should do because everybody should vote. This is what we should do. I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, we gonna start sleeping with Tom Hanks now? What the hell? And then she gets behind this new section, or this new piece for the circle called like C something. I can't remember what the hell it was called, but she was on stage and she was like, okay, let's put 20 minutes on the clock and let's see if we can't find this felon. Woo! And I was like, what the fuck? And by the way, her friend, the old dude from Boyhood, oh my God, that... I got nothing against him, but like seriously, he was terrible. Not only was he kind of off the mark in general in this film, but in this scene right here, my God, was he terrible. He was so terrible in this scene because she had took a picture of like some deer antlers or something that it was like something that he had put together, these deer antlers, something like that. And she took a picture of it, or she took a video of what he made with these deer antlers, and it got online, and people started accusing him of being a deer killer or some shit. So he goes to the Circle job site and he confronts Emma Watson, and he's just like, look at what these people are doing to me. Like, how are you behind all these people? How are you doing this? How are you okay with this? Is this okay to you? Like that's literally how he was sounding. And I was just like, oh my God. It's not only is his anxiety and anger not convincing, but his acting was just not good in this film, but particularly in that scene, I was just like, oh my God, he sounds like a whiny child, you know? Like, what the fuck? Also, because he didn't, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't get the impression, like, he got fired, and, like, there were, like, people outside his window, like deer killer, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't seem to be, like, that bad, so I felt like he kind of was being a little bitch a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, either way, his acting was terrible. I felt like they went nowhere. By the time we got to this sequence, okay, I felt like John Boyega, like after she got saved in the kayak or whatever, or the rowboat, whatever. By the time she got saved there, I felt like the movie like kind of forgot about John Boyega. The movie did during the second half of the film. To me personally, and then they even tried to have this intense moment where this same character, this same guy right here, they try to have this moment where he gets accidentally killed. His truck drives off a fucking bridge, and while the concept was what they were aiming for was somewhat interesting, because it is kind of nuts to think like, hey everybody around the world, let's find this one person in 10 minutes. Woo! That's kind of a weird concept, but it just wasn't really executed that well, because when the guy in the truck died, the only thing I thought was, really, Emma? This is what finally brought you to a place of like, you know what? I think these Circle people are bad. Like, it took your friend being driven off a truck by these crazy fucks for you to think finally, like, you know what? I think there's something wrong about the Circle. How about that? Like no red flags went off when you accidentally showed millions of people your parents having sex, or it didn't seem weird that like you're just happily having people watch your every move every day. I don't know. Because, true, there are people who do an aspect of this in real life, like, let's say, people who, like daily vloggers, BF versus GF. Sure, they vlog, they put a lot of themselves online, but it's not like in this sense where, like, they're every day recording themselves in that sense, but I don't know, just her character motivations just felt completely unbelievable in the second half of the film, and it's just the movie it tries to have a really stimulating plot. You know, this concept of using cameras everywhere to kind of like make the world better. um, it's an interesting concept, but they didn't really do anything with that. You know, this movie wasn't mind blowing. It wasn't bold. The movie wasn't exciting. The movie didn't have exceptional acting in it. Honestly, the only scene that comes to mind that I genuinely was like, oh, yeah, yeah, this is interesting. The only scene that comes to mind is when she was being questioned at the circle for the first time, her job interview, where that guy was just rattling off these random questions that were actually kind of deep in a way, you know? Um, like the needs of the people or the needs of the society, whatever the hell. Like, just some of the questions that she was being asked were actually pretty insightful and kind of deep. And I thought that scene, and I thought her answers were actually kind of deep in a way. And I was like, oh man, this scene is really good. But yeah, I don't know. There's just nothing really great about this film. You know, there's nothing intense about this film. There's nothing substantially. I don't even really think there was anything surprising about this film, honestly. Like, there was never a point in this film where I was like, oh my God! So, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of just like, meh. You know, it's not like the worst film of the year or anything like that, but kind of was just thought it was kind of meh. I'm kind of feeling like a, what am I feeling on this one? I think I'm gonna go like a 5. I'm gonna go like a 5 out of 10. As it started to get towards the end, where she finally comes to her fucking senses and betrays Tom Hanks and Patton Oswalt. Like just 10 minutes prior, I had already tuned out of the movie. I was like, oh my God, I almost feel like I could be FaceTiming someone right now might be more interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling like a 5. I think I'm gonna go like a 5 out of 10 on it. I just wasn't really. I wish I could say this movie was thrilling and it was just so like majestically fantastic, but nah, it maybe red box it. I don't know. I mean, if you're a diehard Emma Watson fan, I mean, I guess you're gonna see it either way. But yeah, I'm not. Wasn't really that interesting to me. So yeah, I'm feeling like a 5 out of 10 on it. But would you what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to smash that like button and subscribe as well. Actually, in fact, in the lower right hand corner of the screen, you should see a little circular button. You can tap that to instantaneously subscribe. And you know, I'm out. Let me know your thoughts down below. Peace.